Welcome, everybody, to the R&R CatCast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, Bobcat Nation. Welcome back to another episode of Brick Ball. We are in the thick of it with the conference schedule, and tonight, no Grizzlies, thank goodness. Joined by one of the Ryans. Foley, how you doing? Welcome back. I haven't seen you in a couple weeks, so we're looking at each other over a video call right now, and you have a beautiful mustache, I must say. It's throwing me off quite a bit, actually. Thorny is normally the bearded one or facial hair enthusiast on here with me, but it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be a weird episode staring at you. But how you doing tonight, man?
You know, it's good. The mustache has grown on me as well. Sorry, it's a bad dad joke right there. I'm doing good, buddy.
It's just hitting me like that episode of The Office where half the office does the mustaches for men's prostate awareness, and they all just keep walking up to random people and being like, "This is for men's prostates."
Okay, I had this, when you grow a mustache, you always have a lot of awkward conversations with people they don't look at you in the eyes. They're looking at your mustache the whole time. I had that with a teacher today, Miss Klein, and she was like looking at me and trying to talk. And then she goes, "Nice mustache." I was like, thanks, Miss Klein.
What did the kids say? Like, have you had any kids in class say anything, or just be like,
"Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's ranged from like a gross face to like a high five from the boys." And so yeah, and my wife looked at me. She's like, "Did you mean to do that?" So yes, for like at least another week, it will be donning my face.
Well,
it's beautiful. There you go.
I love it, man. I've rocked the mustache multiple times, especially in the military.
Yeah,
it's a good look. I'm a fan of it, but I'm also a fan of a 4-0 home stretch for the men's and women's basketball teams as our segue. Yeah, look at that. Good little weekend set for both the men's and women's teams. Men got it done against a woefully just meandering Sac State team.
Yeah.
And then had a real test come into Bozeman with a really good, probably the best Portland State team in years. They are talented. They are skilled. The Grizzlies got them. And then we had it pretty comfortable in the second half for most of the game until about the last minute. But as to be expected with Bobcat teams trying to play a little conservative at the end and getting things a little close. Where have we seen that before? It was a tight one. And then...
Right.
Gosh, the women are just so darn good. We'll have some more to say about them, but pummeling opponents, 10-0 in conference, and looking forward to this next weekend, especially Thursday. Get your butt in the brick for this Thursday game. They have a massive game against NAU. Open up the floor. What was your initial feedback from the weekend, man? It was all coming up Bobcats this weekend, and it feels good because it's been a rocky road up to this point.
Yeah, my first instinct was like just happy that the Montana State men's team seems to be finding some lineup kind of mixtures that seem to fit them now. And it's, halfway through halfway through the Big Sky conference season. Excited to see that we're catching some momentum. And I feel even like this Bobcat team is a little ahead of where we were last year. And I know we've been kind of critical with this men's team. If I just capture this weekend, Sacramento State is woefully bad.
They're not good.
And I was just shocked because they've been always scrappy, but they didn't look competitive at all. And I mean, we only won 70-58. All of our games have been so stinking close this year. 70-58 feels like a big margin for the Cats. And then that Portland State game, man, Portland State had us outsized in size and physicality. But the three ball was going down for us, right? And when the three ball is going down for us, we're going to win a lot of those games. Uh, Ian Laird calls Max Agbampolo AGP, I think. And so I'm going to steal that from him. Uncharacteristically just dribbles it out of bounds with like 10, 11 seconds. And then they get
Yeah.
that 3-point play. And you're just like, oh, come on, guys. Like,
Here we
what
go
is going
again.
on? Fortunately, there was only zero point 0.9 seconds left on the clock, but way closer at the end than it had to be. That was a really good win for us. But some, I mean, I still have some critiques on these Bobcats. I'm sure we'll get into it.
Yeah, my shining point of the weekend, two guys to kind of give a lot of credit to. Jed Miller has really come into his own. I
Yeah.
want to give him a lot of credit for that three he hit late in that game. And one thing that John Olmstead told us at the beginning of the year is he coaches. Logie's really good about coaching different players to what they need. And one thing I thought was really cool is seeing Jed, develop the last couple of years into the player he's become. When he hit that free three, just seeing so how happy he was, but all like Logie just bear hugged him when they went to the bench for that timeout, just to see that moment of like normally, we see and gripe on a lot of bad moments about people, so I want to highlight a really good moment. Is just seeing a guy who's been on the bench, who's stayed here, who's just working his butt off, and to see him get some. I mean, he's not perfect. He's. I think he had a couple steals where it's like, oh come on, man, or he got the ball swiped a couple times, like, oh, but boy, prediction that I feel very good about is him being our sixth man. He's feisty. He's become one of my favorite players to watch. I had somebody at the game on Saturday be like, who's our best player and who's somebody I should watch? And I'm like, well, Max is probably our best player right now. Is what I said. Watch Max. And then I was like, well, 20, you got to watch 24 too when he comes on, because when he gets his minutes, he's going to be scrappy. And he's somebody I really enjoy watching up and down the court. Pat McMahon, 21 points. One of the things I really noticed with Portland State is they were tall and athletic down low, and Brandon Walker, it just wasn't his day. His game really doesn't translate when he has that many big athletic dudes in the paint. And Pat McMahon stepped up, drove the lane, did what I've wanted us to do all year. He went up hard, he went up into the lane, and it's awesome to see what he's become this year, especially if he keeps doing that. We've got a real chance. That
Yeah,
was
he
what we
seems
were
to be the
missing.
fire. Yeah. Pat's been the fire lately. It's good to see Sam like a lot to be that kind of spark as well. So I think three guys really emerged for me when I was watching this weekend. It was Sam, Pat, and Jed. And it's cool to see those guys fill an absence of leadership on the Bobcats that I've been sensing. And these guys are collectively taking uh I don't want to say the role of Robert Ford. You and I have kind of tossed that back and forth a little bit, but it's been more of they needed to manufacture some sort of leadership, and you're seeing it come out in Jed when he comes off the bench. His ability to just kind of handle the game, right? You see it with Sam on the defensive side when he is the guy just willing the team forward to make defensive stops and making big plays, and then coming back on the back end and having a huge dunk on the offensive side. And now you're starting to see Patrick McMahon, the guy we heard from like Dan Russell when he was on staff saying to me personally, that guy's going to be a dude. Watch out. And he's finally healthy. And that's really cool to see like these guys kind of coalesce mid-season, because I'm looking across the divide. They're playing really good ball right now. I'm wondering if they're peaking. As a Bobcat fan, you're like, hopefully they're playing their best right now, and we're not there yet, but
I,
we will
I I
be
agree. I don't think we've
in
peaked yet.
Boise. No, I don't think we have either. And I think this kind of momentum that we're seeing in the last 2 weeks feels pretty stinky good. I would still like to see us play more tenacious, gritty defense. That's something that's lacking in the Logie era for me. We're relying on one guy like Sam or Robert Ford last year or whoever steps into that role, but it's not a team identity. And I kind of miss that a little bit. So I guess that's my work upon for the Bobcats, or I don't know if we will ever have that underneath Logie. He's such an offensive minded coach. It's reflected in his players, but not to be not to be a downer, but yeah, good stuff going. See some guys stepping up in their roles, and some other guys taking kind of a step back, and I think that's okay.
Yeah. Uh, one thing I you reminded me, I have it written down here. We had a comment in one of our group chats we're in about somebody asking about how they wanted to see us have more of a point guard, or I want to have a point guard like Robert Ford.
Sure.
I kind of stewed on that, and especially leaving the Portland State game, I thought, well, we have a point guard. We just don't have a point guard, who's there this year, but we're developing. Bryce Zephyr is going to be a
Hmm.
special player. He's young, he's inexperienced. Jed is also he's got, I think, one more year left. He's going to be a very special player too. So to respond to that, they're on the roster, but we're developing them. Is what I'd say right now. Is we have point guards, we're just not at the Robert Ford level of point guards. And it's something I've thought more is we didn't early in the season, we had no idea who Jabe was taking it up. We had no idea who was going to, be our point guards, but as the season's gone on, as Logie's systems progressed, as we begin to see it, naturally we've started to form having that the ones with Bryce and then the twos with Jed and then starting to roll into kind of natural rhythm, and that's been really special. Tyler Patterson also had a pretty nice game. He took a step back, it looked like, for a bit. Now he's kind of back. It it just seems like it kind of we ride the hot hand. And we have so many guys who can get minutes. It's nice to see that we ride who we can get. And for Saturday, that was Jed and that was Pat and that was a couple other guys. So I feel good. Like I feel better than I did at this point last year about Boise, but I also think there might be 6 fan bases who think they could win in Boise right now, and that's fun. That's a fun thing to have in a league.
Yeah, any night you could have the Bears, the Grizz, Portland State could rise up. Idaho State's very scrappy. Idaho could catch fire.
Idaho's looking
Montana
good,
State.
yeah.
And so I think that top 6 teams could jockey for position, and you never know what's going to happen. And that's, the Big Sky Conference. We only get one team in. You'd like to see at least two, right? I want to hit something on that. Go back to the point guard. Like as we're developing these guys, Jed Miller, Zephyr, we have Xavier Bishop as a coach
Yep.
on the bench, who's one of the all-time greats, right? That preceded Robert Ford. That came, was that point guard in the early Sprinkle era. What a guy to be mentoring these young men. So that's just I just want to throw that in there.
There was a great, article that came out this week on how Bishop made his way back to MSU. I can't remember, I think it was 406 Sports wrote it, but, Danny Sprinkle talks about how Bishop was so loyal to him, and when Logie gave him the offer to come kinda sit more further up the bench rather than at Washington, Bishop was almost, like, afraid to betray, Sprinkle a little bit or talk to Sprinkle, and so it's kinda funny that it Sprinkle pushed him towards Logie and pushed him back, and it's awesome to see that. So, the fact that he's on our staff is very welcomed. We've got a very good staff. If you look through just what we have coaches with Final Four experience on this staff actually, and Sam Scholes. So, we've got we've got a good structure around this team, and that's good to see. Um, Big road weekend. I think we've only won 2 games on the road all year, if I see that correctly. So, this is a big one. In my mind, a split is acceptable. Uh, but if you come out with a 2-0 weekend, especially with a UNC win, massive,
Huge, right?
massive.
Yeah.
We keep
That
saying I think we've talked, me, you, Thorny, a couple other people. Have we turned the corner? Have we turned the edge? Are we beginning to get on the right track? And I think the answer is yes at home.
mhm.
I'm still jury's out. You can't go 0-2 this weekend. If you want to fight for a top 4, top 5 seed, you cannot go 0-2 on these road trips.
I suspect we win at Northern Arizona, and I think that was we've beat them before. As if that's right, yeah, we won 58-53. Uh, Man, if we get a win in Greeley, that would be super impressive. I've watched a couple UNC games. They have 5 guys that are just ballers, dude. And when I was looking through stats, just really impressive rebounders, scorers, you name it, man. UNC's got it right now.
Did
And
we had them down
homegrown
20
talent
though,
too.
didn't we?
Huh?
We had them
What's that?
down 20 at our
Yeah, we did.
place.
Uh-huh. And we lost
That's gonna stick in the craw, I
83,
think.
82,
I was at
83,
that game.
82.
Yep.
That's some that was one where my phone actually told me we won. And then it was like, nope. Well, they scored right at the very end. I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? So,
Yep.
yeah. So we've had such close scores. At Eastern, lost 68-63. Idaho, 69-64. Yeah, man. I mean, even on our losses on the road against Montana, 77-70, I thought that was a little bit closer than that score indicated at the very end. You could easily say the Cats are here. Like, they're there. They're really close to catching fire. Man, yeah, if we could steal one in Greeley, that would be
Be
wow.
massive for seeding.
Yeah, that'd be the win of the season so far.
Yeah. All right. I don't know what else to say on the men's team other than this is a big test. It's nice that we get NAU first, so you don't get the Goliath first game, but you just had a great homestand. You've got a lot of momentum going forward. You've got some guys really playing the best basketball of their careers, and it seems like things are finally gelling. An 0-2 weekend would be disastrous. So,
Yeah, I don't think that's in the cards.
no.
I'm not sure if 2-0 is in the cards, but
No.
yeah, I don't think. Yeah,
I would
but I don't
feel
know.
very good with a split. And uh, look, the rest of the conference is kind of beating itself up right now. I feel like we're 5-5 in conference right now. There are a lot of teams sitting around that 500 level. I think the Grizz are 8-2. I think UNC is 9-1 at this point, but uh, anybody's beatable. That's the cool thing. There's no dominant force this year, and that's a lot of fun. Now to switch, we've got a 10-0 women's team that just is steamrolling people and
Jeez.
is 20-2 overall. And there's some real talk. There was some discussion that if they falter in the, to your point earlier about we only get one team, if the women falter in the Big Sky with the way they're playing basketball, they might get an at-large bid.
What a fun team to
They
watch
are that good.
from top to bottom. They just put in. It's no matter who they put in. They
No,
have like these defined roles, and they have such good ball movement. They play. Oh my gosh,
they
some
play
of the
fun
best
ball.
defense.
Yeah.
Oh wow, so fun to watch. Yeah, if you get a moment, Bobcat fan, and you haven't watched any of the women, when women's games, do yourself a favor, click into it. It's amazing basketball. It's been so much fun. Like I can't get over how much fun I have watching the girls basketball right now.
Yep. Uh, another thing, me and Mac Anderson were loathing this and talking about how there was only two, I think, two players from the state of Montana on either the Grizz or the men's or the Bobcats men's teams.
Hmm.
There's Montana talent up and down the Bobcat roster, which is awesome to
Oh
see, as
yeah.
well as a lot of Northwest talent. Um, when you have a freshman from Roberts, Montana, making a lot of noise, that's super awesome, and she's gonna be really good. And there's great headlines that have come out, and I want to get into it more and discuss it more. They have a massive game against NAU on Thursday. Get to the brick if you can. The men's crowd, 4,000 strong on Saturday, was stellar. I hope we can get 4,000 in for the women. NAU is clearly the second best team. It's a two-team race, it seems like, for the conference. We went down there and beat NAU at their place. If they beat NAU here, it's not wrapped up yet, but it looks like it's pretty darn close to them wrapping up a regular season conference championship at this point if they can beat NAU.
Yeah. Lori Payne, a Montana native, have her blue pony, coach of the Lumberjacks coming back to Bozeman. She is a rising star in the coaching uh, realms. Her and Binford squaring off. What a classic matchup that's going to be. I think, Zach, there will be quite a few people at the Brick. They are going to drop the banner for the men,
Yep.
according to Leon Costello, for the men's football team, that is. And there will be opportunities to earn some like autographs from the football players. And so they're going to celebrate the 2024 Big Sky Conference Championship for the football team. That in itself will bring some guys out, but yeah, they they don't need it because this is a huge basketball game. I would be
Free
there.
Chick-fil-A
I'm
for students too.
100% I'd be there. Yeah.
It's a
Um,
snowstorm here right now, but that's no excuse. Get to the Brick, wear a parka. You can brave it.
yeah, 6 p.m. I was looking, so it's gonna be a night game. So
Yep.
it's not even a matinee. That's like Spotlight City right there. So, oh man, that's awesome. I love too the fact that you have like Esme Morales, just
Yeah.
being such a sage out there, and then you know
She's
an elite
she's their
scorer.
Robert Ford,
Yeah,
which is
an
awesome.
elite scorer, a facilitator, and then
Yeah.
you got like gals coming off the bench, like picked in, who is so fresh, so fast. And you got Mara Dykstra and Kaylin Martin and all these players that and watched for so many years, and then you're just like, wow, the mixture of the seasoned vets and the young, fresh sophomores and freshmen who have defined roles. It's just so cool, dude. I haven't seen anything like it before because you normally watch team sports and you're like, okay, those are our defined people, those are our guys, or those are our gals. It seems like everybody plays on the
Yeah.
Montana State women's bench, and they all succeed. They all just do really well in that system.
It's such a deep team.
Uh huh.
So
It's so
they're
cool.
gelling. They went through 2 years of kind of trying to figure it out, and this is a group of seniors, especially who a lot of them came back for a 4th or 5th year and
Yeah.
have their degrees or in grad school, and they're on a mission, and this is their this is their mission. So yeah, they definitely helped when the men were struggling this year. They're a fun team to watch. They put a lot of people away. In essence, they're kind of like our football team a little bit, where a lot of the games have been over by halftime.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had Portland State pretty down. I watched the first half of that, and I was like, all right, that's about okay. Know where this is going. And then they doubled up Portland State. I think that score was like 80 something to 39. So
Whew.
just a beat down.
Yeah, it got away from Portland State. I watched that
Yep.
one. It was Portland State's gym, though, so nice looking, man. In that basketball arena, I know it's new for them. It's so cool.
We've talked
Uh
about this before, how much I despise the old Portland State Arena and going to watch like 2005 Bobcat teams play in that thing
sure,
when I was
yeah.
growing up. It was it was small and cozy to say the least, but I've actually never been to their new gym. I want an opportunity. It looks like they did a really good job, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
So, all right, man. Uh, I think it's fun question time at this point. You got anything else for me on the basketball side? We've kind of covered it.
I'm good. Looking at the schedules going up on the back half of the season, it looks pretty favorable for both men and women to kind of gain some momentum going into
Yep.
Boise. Obviously, the Cat Grizz game is looming out there on the 22nd of this month. But I know for the men, just specifically, like they could really, get the wheels turning, as they like to say, before Boise. And so I think it starts this weekend. Well, it hasn't just starts this weekend. We are in a moment of inflection right now, and man, if we could steal one from the Bears, it'd be so cool. So
I like
I'm really
playing. Yeah,
hoping.
I like playing the Grizz at our place second. Having that late season home game is just such a momentum builder, especially if you can win it and just have that environment because that gets people out. So
Yeah, we got to win against those guys at
yeah.
home. Come
So
on,
you
Logie.
gotta
Let's do
return
it.
the favor. So
Yeah.
all right, buddy. Um, this is my question to you to start because it is one of my favorite weeks of the year, turning into one of my favorites. And The listeners cannot see it, but above my left shoulder, fully, if you look up there, I have a golf flag from the Phoenix Waste Management Open, which is this week. Uh, it is one of the craziest sporting events I've ever been to, and just pure fun and chaos. And it's my favorite. It's becoming one of my favorite weeks to just watch just the crowd and the frenzy, and golf's in a weird place right now. So to you, my friend, and I think I know the answer. I have it written down here, so no cheating for me. What is your favorite random sporting event that is not a major power four sport, we could say?
Oh yeah, this is easy for me. It's the Tour de France.
Yep. Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. Ah, yes. Okay.
I've often implored Thorny or anybody who wants to talk Tour de France that we should do a midsummer kind of podcast tour, the R&R Tour de France. I could talk Tour de France all day long. And I don't ride bikes. Like I have one. I'm a runner. I mean, that's been kind of cataloged on this podcast before, but I've I love the tour. I watched some of the classics a little bit, but when it comes to the tour, yeah, it's a weird thing because it's something that's like doesn't jive with anything else I do in my life. Endurance sports maybe, but like yeah, I'm very knowledgeable about the Tour de France.
When did you start? When did you start getting into do you watch any other bike racing, or is it just the Tour de France?
You know, a little bit of the Spania and the Volta before. Catch some like stats on like the classics. That probably won't mean a lot to anybody, but it's mainly the tour. And where I got into it was I took kind of a sabbatical from teaching. I was trying to get into outdoor education. And so I resigned from public education and was pursuing outdoor education stuff. In the meantime, I was working at this little outdoor shop in Great Falls, Montana called Bighorn Outdoor Specialist. And one of the workers there got me into the tour. And so Keith was his name. And I just started watching the tour every summer. And then one of my baseball buddies, and my good buddies Ryan from Great Falls, Montana, he was like, "Oh, I watched the tour too. I just put it on in the background in the summer." And so like we'd be out having beers and we'd be like, we'd start talking about the tour, and it's like super interesting conversation. And so him and I just became like kind of tour buddies. I mean, we're in the same fantasy baseball league, played on the same softball team, like all this stuff, and we just kind of realized we were both tour fans. And then it just sucks you in. And to me, like it's just a natural part of summer. Being a teacher, obviously, I have some time off in the summer, but waking up early, putting the stage on, and you don't want to watch the whole stage. Like if you're going to watch a stage of the Tour de France, it could last up to 3-4 hours. Sometimes it's ridiculous. And so what I like to do is probably try to catch the last 50 kilometers of the race. And then you get to know the teams and the riders and the races within the race because you have so many different jerseys you can win and whatnot. So it just brings you, the storylines bring you in, and it's just this tapestry that just flows for 21 days really. And it's culminates, in this in Paris. And it just gets me, man. Every summer, I love it. So anybody out there who wants to talk to her, please get at me. I'm always looking for it. Thorny still won't take the bait, man. I would love to do an R&R tour uh, podcast for 21 days. That'd make me so happy, to be honest.
You're gonna need a guest host for that. I think me and Thorny shut you down last summer. You were like, "Are you guys watching this?" And we were like, "Hell no!" Like,
Yeah. I
what are
know.
you doing posting non-Bobcat stuff in our Bobcat group chat right now? I don't think I'm to that extreme. I do really enjoy it as I get older, and maybe this is just me being old. I've gotten really big into golf. I love the waste management because I think it's the closest we get to truly Happy Gilmore golf.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. There's always some good story. I made it on Barstool last year, not being the drunk guy, but being the guy watching the drunk guy in the background. So that was a crowning achievement for me. Um, Golf's in a super weird place with two leagues right now. It's a Ryder Cup year. I think I think the Netflix show they did, it was really cool to see that behind the scenes, and it's just something that's kinda drawn me in as I get older. Um, Golf was awesome for me. It was something when I was on my deployments, ironically, both places I was deployed to had golf courses. So, I played a ton of golf and just got into it. My grandpa's a huge golf guy, worked at a golf course for a long time. So, I love about this time when, we have the Bobcats and we got basketball, but I know we each have our own baseball teams, but man, I love me some golf. I love me some Masters. It's a goal of mine to go to the Masters one year. So that's mine. I knew yours for sure. I almost guarantee it because I remember that from last summer, but it popped in my head. If you don't watch the Waste Management, I guarantee if you're on the social media, you're gonna see clips from it because it's pandemonium and it is a ton of fun. And anybody who wants to go, I went last year with a bunch of guys, and everybody I went with, we've been like, man, it would be so much fun to go back. I want to go back. So I would tell anybody who's on the fence of going, it's an event you should go do with on a guy's trip. It's a ton of fun.
And
Um,
that's in Phoenix?
it's in Phoenix, yeah. It's where Tiger Woods
Okay.
hit his hole in one that he go. That's a famous scene. It's
Yeah.
I had so much fun. It was a disaster last year for the event, but it was a ton of fun for me. Um, yeah, great experience. Great sporting. It's getting into like on a sports bingo card of things you got to do in your life as a sports fan. You gotta go to the Waste Management Open. It's just a ton of fun. So, all right, that and my other fun question, and we come from different states, and this is one that I really want to hammer down. What is your favorite high school mascot of all time? Unique high school mascot. And if you want me to go first, I can give you mine.
Oh, no, I know mine. It's the Wrestlers, Seymour Wrestlers. It's where I went to high school.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
went to Central Catholic in Portland, and I mine is the Rams. That is not my favorite. My favorite of all time is the Tillamook Cheesemakers from Tillamook, Oregon.
The cheesemakers.
It's, it's better than the Camus paper makers in
Ah.
Washington. How they have a paper mill, and if you've ever been near a paper mill, you know how that smells. But
Oh,
the
yeah.
Tillamook Cheesemakers is my favorite, and yes, that is where the Tillamook cheese comes from.
I would like to see their football helmet. It reminds me of being in the BAC and seeing the list of
Yep.
football helmets up there, and you see like the sugar beaters and brown, all of Montana's, the Scotties. Uh, I've always really liked Browning's head feathers,
Oh,
feather
the headdress. Yeah, that's a good one.
headdress. That
Yeah.
that looks really good on the helmet. But yeah, that's a totally different topic. But yeah, you got me thinking about that. Anyways, but no, yeah, the Rustlers. I thought I was green and gold through and through.
We were the Rams, which was pretty generic. I mean, there's a lot of high schools. There's a good comedy bit out there. Somebody does, all right, raise your hand if your high school mascot was the Lions. Raise your hand if they were the Eagles or the Bears. High school mascots should be like minor league baseball teams. They should be super unique and fun.
Nice.
That's what I
I
love. I
appreciate
love
that.
those
Yeah.
things. So, all right, those were my two end of random thought. Welcome to February questions. So, all right, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Please get to the Brick if you are in Bozeman and can safely make it there on Thursday. Massive game for the ladies. It isn't, but it kind of is the regular season title matchup for the women at this point. So, huge, huge game. Fully, we got a big week of basketball. We got some fun games. I know you'll be watching on ESPN Plus. I know we'll be talking about it quite a bit, but we'll be back next Monday and hopefully feeling as good as we feel right now.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.